Goal of the 9-yard line. Hamilton keeps it. Touchdown.
As always, we thank God every minute of every day. It's your boys, the Two Live Stews. Without Doug tonight, it's one live stew, Ryan Stewart. But tonight's show, like it is every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, 2 hours after the no show at 7 on Stewart Media and Entertainment, it's In the Huddle with Joe Ham, with none other than Joe Ham himself. Give it up for Joe. What up, Joe? Give it up for Joey. Come on, audience. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I didn't tell y'all stand. You can sit down. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Joe Ham, what's up with it, brother, man? How you doing, man?
Everything is fabulous, my brother. The snap count this afternoon, the snap count this evening. We're going to go on 3. We're going to go on 3. We're going to go on 3 because they've been teeing off. The offensive line told me, say, hey, Joe, can we slow these guys down a little bit? I said, yeah, I got something for them. Hot, hot, hot. And they'll jump off a little bit, man. Everything is going good, man. Family is well, man. Health is well. I'm just living the dream. And why I say I'm living the dream, man, because you can set the temperature.
Yes.
You don't want to be the temperature. You want to be the thermostat.
Right.
Every morning, I thank God that I am the thermostat. And my
Thank
thermostat every morning is I'm blessed.
Yes.
And no matter what it is, no matter how I'm feeling, I set that thermostat at I am blessed. And the temperature might change, but if I set the thermostat, it's always going to go back to I am blessed.
South Carolina's finest. Alvin, South Carolina's finest. He's a Macedonian Fox, a Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket, a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, and an Indianapolis Colt. Joe Ham in the building with your boy, one live stew, Ryan Stewart. Looking forward to getting in the huddle with you, Joe, to talk about several different things tonight. But before we get into that, I want to thank everybody in the chat room for being in the chat room. I want to thank everybody for viewing. I want to remind y'all to please continue to pass the word about the shows on Stewart Media and Entertainment. Please pass the word. Joe, before we dig into these sports, we won't be too long tonight. Big weekend coming up with the Super Bowl, all kind of stuff going on in the NBA with free agency coming real soon. I mean, it's like every 5 or 10 minutes, there's something huge going on in the world of the NBA. As a matter of fact, I'll put this out there real quick before I get into 2 things before we start with the sports. You told me about the Jimmy Butler trade in the pre-show meeting, and I didn't even know about that. I've been on daddy duty all afternoon. Soccer field with Mason, soccer field with Morgan. Took Miles to play practice. He's stage managing the school play in the next week or so. So I hadn't been home. You know, I read stuff as they come through. I do get updates, but I didn't see nothing about Jimmy. Now, that's something we got to add to the list somewhere in here today. But before we start with the sports, today at my daughter's soccer practice, I'm sitting down. I got my fold-out chair. I'm right on the sideline. One of my daughter's teammates kicks the ball. Teammate she kicked it to missed it, and it's coming straight to me. It's coming fairly fast, but it's coming straight to me. I realized that I'm not going to be able to stop the ball with my feet or my arms in the chair I'm sitting in because it's too far away. So I let it get closer, and real quick at the last second, Joe, I pop up, spin around, and do a man turn. I did a man turn. I pop up, spin around, and ran 2 steps to get to the ball. Pull my hamstring.
No way. No way. No, you didn't.
Pull my hamstring, Joe.
A grade what?
Out of a 4 is the highest I could get. It's a 3.5. I didn't pop it, but I pulled it for sure as my name. I got a limp right now.
Well, I can say this.
All I did was get out of a chair real quick, turn around, man turn real quick, and took 2 quick steps, and I pulled my hamstring. This is 51.
No. I'm not going to let you get away with this is 51. And I'm going to be a friend that I am of you. I'm fond of you. And Stu, that should be a wake-up call. That should be a wake-up call. And I saw the other day, maybe it was like probably 4 or 5 days ago, where you were grinding on the treadmill, and you said that it felt good to be able to sweat and to be able to get the that endurance going back, your health, your
Yep,
cardio.
yep,
But that's not even laughable. That's something that shouldn't happen at 51. And I'm talking about a wake up call that I have to do better as far as getting in shape. I have to do better because that all of a sudden move. If you are active, you should be able. Now I know a lot of people would say, "Well, I didn't stretch. I have to stretch to be able to make all of a sudden moves." I get it, but a former athlete that's back in the gym, that's getting his cardio, that's being active, that can do those type things of your status, of your stature, there's no way you pull a hamstring doing that. That should be a wake up call, Stuart.
I'm back in the gym. Been back there since the beginning of the year. We are now in the beginning of February. Today is February 5th. I have been in the gym since January 3rd. I've missed 2 days twice, and I've only missed 1 day twice. And right now, I didn't go Monday, so I'll go the rest of the week and Saturday, even though I can't get on the treadmill. And Joe, I'm sorry. How old are you now?
I'm 48.
You don't run the steps like you did 5 years ago.
No.
To get your keys, or you forget your wallet, or you left the light on, or you need to turn the TV off. You don't scoot down them stairs fast as you did 2 years ago. You don't do it, I'm telling you.
No, well, we're not talking about speed. We're not talking about competition. We're not talking about having a stopwatch. We're talking about all of a sudden a ball is coming our way and we made a sudden move.
A sudden movement.
A sudden movement.
That's
a sudden movement shouldn't cause a grade 3 hamstring.
I didn't stretch. I didn't warm up. I didn't do nothing. I was cold. I didn't do nothing. And the sudden movement pulled my hammy. This 51.
No, it's not. No. Okay, no. And you know what? And then I'm not saying no, it is not how you feel. And older you get, I understand you're not going to be able to move like you should or you used to. I get that. And if you had said, but boy, I was a little slow or I did not react as the way I should react, that's something. But it's a whole different story when you say grade 3, almost a 4 in the hammy, when you did a man turn around to get a soccer ball. Stu, I love the fact that you are. No, I love the fact that you shared that story, but I cannot get away or I cannot get out of here and not respond as a friend and say to you, I don't really want you to blame that on 51. Don't blame that on 51. Blame that on I'm not working hard enough in the gym.
Shedrick Moore. Dang, Ryan. Yeah, same thing I said. As a matter of fact, my daughter even heard me say, damn it. Because that's what I said when I popped. I screamed, damn it. Fell back.
Hey, I'm not laughing at you, but I'm just laughing at you.
And she loves Dad, so she leaves the drill and runs about 30 yards over to me. Dad, are you okay? I'm like, oh, baby, go ahead back to practice. But no, I am not.
Well, you know the drill from here. So now you know the drill from here. You should be sitting on a bag of ice right now. And then you should make sure you don't have it stiffen up on you tonight.
I will govern myself accordingly. Before we get to the sports, one more quick thing, and it is In the Huddle with Joe Ham. I'm your boy Ryan Stewart hosting tonight. Looking forward to it. We got some really good stuff for y'all. Bear with us just one more second. Are you a 100% GPS all day, every day if you're in the car, or do you only use it when you're going places you don't know where you're going?
I'm 100% every day, all day. Ways 100%. Before I leave the house, 7 minutes away, 10 minutes away, dropping the kids off to school, going to the grocery store, because I'm going to always try to be aware of the traffic, what's out there, and also Waze to me helps show me the blue light. The blue light.
Thank you.
The blue light, way up there. There's a police ahead, and not that I'm speeding or doing those things, but I'm just aware that be on your best behavior.
You need to know. Hey, black man, you need to know if there's a cop up ahead. Okay.
Hands up.
Okay. Joe, those are all the reasons why I do the same thing. And I've begged my wife for years to do that. It's not about me knowing where I'm going. It's about the satellites that's in the sky to tell me what might be in my way. For them cats to tell me there are police located up ahead, for them to give me that 6/10, 7/10 of a mile away, you say to me all kind of money.
All kind of money.
Quick
and
story.
time.
Tonight I leave the soccer field. Every night I leave the soccer field, you tend to have to make a right to get out of the soccer field. Today, the truck tells me make a left. I don't question it. I don't think twice. That signal say left, I'm going left. So I go left. Takes me about 1.5 miles to Macon Road, where I would typically make a left to go get on 185. Truck tells me make a right. I don't question it. I make a right and I go. Drive up 2 miles. I would typically keep going straight if I'm trying to go home, but it told me make a left on Moon Road. I don't question it. I do it. I jump on, bam. 3 or 4 more turns, left to right, do this, do that. I get home. Took me 17 minutes. Typically takes 13 to 15. My wife calls and said, did you pick up Miles? I said, no, I didn't, because you said you were going to pick up Miles. She said, okay, I didn't turn my GPS on, and I'm stuck on 185.
Yes. And not only that, Stu, the fact that JP doesn't use GPS, that's one thing. But another thing, I graduated to what you just said about Waze and the satellite, because first, in the early days, I said, why are you doing that? I'm going to go right where I know I'm going to go, because Waze is tripping. Yeah. They cannot be right. And every time I do, or when I used to do that, I used to disregard or disobey Waze, and then I run right into the traffic. So now, whatever they say, and that's why before I leave the house, I'm putting it on what's the best direction, and especially in Georgia. In Georgia, there's so many different ways you can get there to a destination. Why not use it? Why not be sure, in my opinion?
I was 15 minutes from the crib. Wifey was 12 minutes from the crib. Took me 17 minutes to get home. Took her 53. Ooh. A real number. Took her 53. 45 minutes to her evening. 45 minutes to her evening gone because she isn't disciplined enough to use the GPS 100% of the time. I don't even look at it sometimes, but it's on. But she's going to tell me if I need to do something different.
Yeah, and that's a great point you made, because I don't look at it for direction. So I know where I'm going. Yeah. I just said it. Is everything okay with the direction that I'm going? My same genuine direction. Are we cool?
Yep. In the Huddle with Joe Ham. Lots of good stuff to talk to. It's your boys. Don't forget that tomorrow morning, Thursday morning at 7 o'clock, YouTube and Facebook, Two Live Stews. You can find us for the Two Live Stews experience. Myself, my brother Doug. But tonight is In the Huddle with Joe Ham. And we start things off by talking about some quarterbacks.
Right.
Dogs and poodles. There's 2 quarterbacks that blew Joe Ham's mind this week. I'm willing to bet that the first one was right here in the ATL. His name is Kirk Cousins. Joe, please tell me what Kirk Cousins did to blow your mind this week.
Man, well, Kirk Cousins has been on my mind since last night, and I constantly talked about it. And I'm trying to figure out what's behind the weak sauce that he spread around the nation, that he spread around Georgia. Kirk Cousins sat there after last 5 games, throwing 1 touchdown, 9 interceptions, stinking up the joint, going 1-4 in those last 5 games. And all we heard, Ryan Stewart, from an astute quarterback that I think I am. I'm a quarterback whisperer. I know how you should be in that pocket. I know how you should be making decisions in the pocket as an NFL quarterback. I know what type of velocity you should have on certain throws. And when I looked at Kirk Cousins, I said, Kirk Cousins, you are not right. I know you. I'm not saying you're a top 10 quarterback when you're right. I'm not saying that you are an all-pro, but I said something is wrong. But you, Terry Fontenot, Raheem Morris, they continue to tell me, no, it's fine. He's fine. He's fine. You were on the injury report one Wednesday after the New Orleans game when I saw that hit that messed up your shoulder and messed up your elbow, and you were on the injury report for 1 day. Finished that a week off practicing full go. Never on the injury report again. And you had the audacity yesterday,
the unmitigated gall,
and to go on a football show, a national football show, and say that you were hurt, that you have to get your ankle right, and that that elbow and that shoulder had a part to do in your poor play. Stuart, that's malpractice. Stu, he sold a lot of people under the bus, brother. And it starts with, I think he betrayed the Falcons. I think he absolutely betrayed the Atlanta Falcons because this is a move that if you're going to say things like you said, Kirk Cousins, I'm okay when you say that when you're gone. I'm okay when you say that looking back in the offseason once the Falcons cut you or trade you to say, hey, that wasn't my best season because I was battling injuries. But now you're dealing with, or you set the Falcons up to have to answer a lot of questions because why weren't you in the injury report? Falcons, Terry Fontenot, the sports medicine team. Who's telling the untruth here? Raheem Morris now, Stu, listen to this. It's going to be hard for him to get his locker room back. It's going to be very hard for him to get his locker room back because when you're talking about all those guys that fought, all those guys that blood, sweat, and tears, all those guys that are veterans and only have 1 maybe 2 more years left playing in the National Football League, depends on the head coach to make the right decision. And you know what? The only benefit of the doubt I'm going to give Kirk Cousins, because I like to put my foot in somebody else's shoes. I don't know if I'm going to tap my head, Stu. I don't know if I would tap my head if I'm injured. I would go out there first.
I need you to stay on one side of the fence now. Don't you play both sides of this fence.
I'm not playing both sides of the fence. What I'm saying is that if Kirk Cousins, if I'm injured and I believe that I can fight through this injury, I'm going to give it an old college 100. Try. I'm going to give it the high school try. Now, that's up to the coach at that point to say, you're not getting it done. You need to come and sit down by me because you're a hurting team. Now, nobody did that. So who in that Zach Robinson offensive coordinator, head coach Raheem Morris, anybody around there, you did not see Kirk Cousins play, decision-making drop, and you sat there and let it do that? And then you tell us, constantly asking questions, is Kirk okay? After the season, was the benching due to injury? No, it was not. It was due to poor decision-making. So all those lies going to grant me now, Stu, to say I cannot trust the Falcons organization. That's where I'm at now. They've put me behind the 8 ball saying that I cannot trust them with the news that came out yesterday.
3 quick things. And this is your boys. One last Stu, Ryan Stewart, Joe Ham. Georgia Tech, stand up. That's us. 3 quick things. We're going to start here. You mentioned Raheem Morris won't get his locker room back. Unless they knew. Unless this is a situation where the only people kept in the dark was the people outside of the locker room, like me and you, and like that damn injury report. Your thoughts on that?
Well, you have to make that make sense. You have to make that make sense. And I thought about that as well, Stu, but how would they know that this man is injured and not even not bench him, not sit him 1 week, 2 weeks? And that's where it goes back to me now, and I'm not on the fence, that even though I'll get to this in a second, Michael Penix Jr. is behind him. And the worst thing for a starting quarterback to see a left-handed guy ball in practice, a left-handed guy in practice make all the throws, a left-handed guy in practice, tight spirals, anticipation, great pocket awareness, just football IQ going through the roof, picked up the offense very, very rapidly. But you needed to sit down 2 weeks. And why, as a head coach, you knew that he needed to sit down because he's hurting your team. At 6-3, you allowed Kirk Cousins with a banged-up elbow, with a banged-up shoulder.
They were number 1 in the division. They were number 1 in the division.
And you sat around, Stu. You sat around for 4 straight weeks. And that quarterback threw 0 touchdowns in 4 straight weeks. Well, he threw 1 against the Las Vegas Raiders, and Raheem Morris said at halftime, whoa, as long as he got that monkey off his back, that you guys said he couldn't throw a touchdown. So he tried to slap us in our face as media again, talking about we don't know what we're looking at. No, Coach Raheem Morris, if you sat there, you knew, then that's even worse. That's even worse. The only thing Raheem Morris and the coaching staff can say now that Kirk Cousins kind of hid the capacity of the injury.
They have to throw him under the bus. They have to throw him under the bus. Because if you don't throw him under the bus, what about the guys like me, Joe, the gamblers that live in the betting public? What about that, Joe? Joe, I took 2 losses during that month when the Falcons should have won a couple of games that they lost because they got a gimp in the game that his shoulder's hurt and his Achilles is hurt. And I'm trusting and believing on what I've seen with a 6-3 record and a team that's leading the division. I'm doing my homework. I'm doing my numbers. They're not telling me nothing about no shoulder.
No, now I'm all the way there now. Coach Raheem Morris and the staff, they dropped the ball on this one because you remember the Minnesota Vikings game where the Atlanta Falcons got blew out, and Kirk Cousins should have got benched or got sat down the end of that game. If you got a guy, you're $100 million quarterback with a banged up shoulder and a banged up elbow, the game is out of hand. There's no way you can come back. You jogged him back out there in that football field to get even more injured, and you say to us that you wanted him to go out there and fight with his teammates and go out the way he wanted to go out because it's the Minnesota Vikings. It's no coming back from this. Kirk Cousins cannot ever put on a Falcons uniform again. And you know what he did? Kirk Cousins now, he's protecting his money. He's protecting his money because what he's saying to us is that, and to the other, I guess maybe 24 to 25 teams, is that the reason why we faltered, the reason why I looked that bad coming down the stretch was because I was not healthy. My shoulder and my elbow hindered me from being the Kirk Cousins that you guys saw the first 12 weeks of the season.
Do you watch or listen to any sports talk radio or any sports talk TV shows throughout the course of the day, Monday through Friday, Joe?
Oh yes, I love NFL Network. I love Inside the NBA. Okay. I love them all. I love them all.
Joe, the majority of these talking heads are still talking about Kirk Cousins in free agency or the free agency pool this upcoming year as if he is still a contender for a job. The talking heads are telling me that Kirk could get a chance with the Raiders. The talking heads are telling me that maybe even if Minnesota has to part with Sam, that Kirk would be willing to come back to back up JJ. It blows my mind how they bump for each other when I know and you know and the Falcons front office know that he is done. He ain't got nothing left, if you ask me. And part of that reason is because of the farce that he was during that month when he was still perpetrating a fraud at the quarterback position for the Falcons.
Yeah, but what if, Stu? What if? And you're 100% correct. But what if that's fact about the shoulder and the elbow? Although he tried to fight through it, although we know that he stunk it up and he was a top 25 type passer, bottom of the league. What if that was correct? What if that affected him? And what if this offseason, if he do some recording, he does some workout, let that thing heal, and he shows other GMs that I have velocity on the football now, and they kind of make excuses, they try it, or they eat that news, or they swallow that news that Kirk Cousins is trying to sell out there now, that the reason my play kind of dwindled and kind of fell short was because I was injured.
So listen to this, Joe. It is In the Huddle with Joe Ham. I'm your boy Ryan Stewart, having a good time. We're gonna press on here in a second. I hate when this happens, but we're gonna press on here in a second. I'm furious with the front office, Joe, because you know and I know that they knew the potential that one Mr. Backup quarterback
Penix Jr.
Michael Penix Jr. had. They knew his potential at that position. But you at 9-3 sat there for 4 weeks to try to let Kirk Cousins figure it out when you didn't have to do that.
Man.
Y'all let Penix play one preseason game and then you sat him saying, we've seen all we need to see. So why y'all still trotting Kirk Cousins out there if you saw all you need to see and you got Penix on the bench and Kirk Cousins can't throw a damn spiral?
Lack of respect.
Why are you doing that?
Lack of respect to the fan base, lack of respect to the NFL, lack of respect to a lot of different people, what the Atlanta Falcons pulled off. Lack of respect. You're telling me you don't even care about those last 3 games or last 4 games when you knew he was struggling. That's what you're telling me, that you're going to let him on everybody's watch, the season ticket holders, that you're not going to even think about them when you knowing the move needed to be made. Why? Because you're paying this guy $40 million a year and he's guaranteed $100 million. You have to do whatever you have to do to make sure the 53-man roster, 58 or 63, including this, the practice squad guys, you have to do what's best for the team. And I don't think the Falcons organization did that, and they lost my trust in doing so.
Jungle Brother, talking heads always do white quarterback shows year round. What's the other quarterback, Joe, that blew your mind this week? You mentioned two
Oh,
quarterbacks that blew your mind this week, Kirk Cousins being one. What's quarterback number 2 as we move the show forward?
yeah, it was last week right after we got off the show, and it was Cam Newton. And it was Cam Newton. And Cam Newton is a really, really sound friend of mine, associate, down the road relative of my wife. So I'm not bashing him.
What does that mean? I'm sorry. What does that mean? What does down the road relative mean?
Fourth cousins is down there, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, not second cousin. You hate to say we are family or they are family, but it's down the road. It's like fourth. Once you get past 3, I'm like, it's down the road a little bit.
Listen, you can even mess around with a fourth cousin. It don't count. I'm just joking.
Hey, no, but what happens is that I don't know if it's the media talk, but Cam is too competitive to say that he will take. Stephen A. Smith asked him on First Take. Shout out to Cam for having a role there on Mondays.
He's doing a good job.
He's doing a good job, and
it's not Monday because Shay is Monday and Tuesday. Is Cam on Mondays also?
Yeah, he's on Monday with Shay. And I think Cam's on Monday and Friday. He's on Mondays and Friday. But I don't think this was clickbait because he answered it with enthusiasm. He answered it quick, and he tried to explain himself.
Tell the story, Joe.
But
Tell the story.
I don't get it. How are you going to value the MVP over winning a Super Bowl? That was a direct question from Stephen A. Smith. Would you give your MVP back to win a Super Bowl? Cam said absolutely not. So I wouldn't say he's capping because if he feels that way, that's cool. But the reason why that blew my mind because I can't think of another quarterback.
Say that one more time, Joe. Say that one more time.
Cam Newton said with a direct question to him, would you give back your MVP trophy, your MVP title to win a Super Bowl? So that means you don't have an MVP, but you have a Super Bowl ring. And Cam Newton says, no, I will not give it back. I take pride in that. And he said, why? He said that the MVP is something that I did. The MVP is showing that what I accomplished. And then he brought up Brad Johnson, and then he brought up Trent Dilfer, that those guys are Super Bowl champs. Why he brought those guys up, I do not know.
You know why? I brought those same guys up last week too. We're talking about a situation, and you know why I brought them up.
Well, they got Super Bowl rings.
They do.
Yeah, if they don't have MVPs. But would you, if you ask those guys, would they rather MVP or a Super Bowl? I guarantee they would say a Super Bowl.
Look, man, you know my heart. You know where I'm from. You know my people. This is good. I did not see this show because I watched Stephen A. in First Take. I watch Kyle Hurd sometime. So I typically do watch when Cam is on, and I do watch when Shay stays on. This is good. I don't want to upset you with me. I'm the ultimate team player, and I think team first. But I am not going to bark up Cam Newton's tree for saying, no, I'd rather keep my MVP. I'm not going to bark up his tree. I'm not too mad about the honesty that he's showing by saying, out of every player in the National Football League this particular season, y'all said I was the best.
Yeah.
I'm not going to knock him for that.
You play this game.
I'm not gonna do it.
You play this game to win championships. You play this game to be remembered. You play this game for everybody to stamp your name down in the history books of a Super Bowl champion. And that's what quarterbacks play the game for. That MVP is not an individual award. You have to thank your offensive line and the wide receivers. You have to give credit to the offensive coordinator and the head coach.
He didn't do it by himself.
That's a fabulous season. That's a fabulous season. But to say you don't want the ultimate, who have you ever heard in your 51 years? Have you ever heard somebody say that they want to win MVP? Have you ever heard somebody say, I want to win the defensive player of the year?
Yeah. MVP. Yeah, people. That's people's goal.
That's down the road.
That's
down the road, Stu. That's down the road from Super Bowl. That's down the road. Let me give you a list of guys that I made sure I jot this down of guys that have not won a Super Bowl.
This is good.
Have not won the MVP.
Come on,
but won a Super Bowl. Troy Aikman. I bet Troy Aikman wouldn't give up a Super Bowl for MVP.
He won 3 of them. Hold on. He won 3 of them, and I bet he would give one of them up for that MVP. Go ahead.
Yeah. Ben Roethlisberger. No MVPs, but he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion.
Two-time Super Bowl champion.
Eli Manning. 2-time Super Bowl champion. He can care less that Cam Newton is an MVP and he's got a Super Bowl.
And Eli is a Super Bowl MVP, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't he get the MVP that year?
He sure did. 2 times. He's a 2-time MVP. Okay. Yes. All right. And Drew Brees, 1-time Super Bowl winner. 1-time Super Bowl winner and no MVPs. I don't know. I guarantee he wouldn't give that Super Bowl back. All right. Russell Wilson, 1-time Super Bowl champion, never won an MVP. I guarantee he wouldn't give that back.
I guarantee Russ would say he would take it. No, I'm not
MVP over a Super Bowl.
I'm not going to do Russ like that. I'm not going to do Russ like that. Keep on
Matthew Stafford, 1-time Super Bowl champion, did not win an MVP, probably going to the Hall of Fame, maybe, but he's got that Super Bowl ring. And let me give you a flip side.
Gave Detroit 8 of the best years of his life for nothing. Okay, Joe. I feel where you're going here, Joe. I feel where you're going here, Joe.
And let me give you 2 more examples, but I don't know them specifically. I hadn't asked those guys this question I'm going to ask you now, but I'm pretty sure what they're going to say. Rich Gannon, MVP, lost in the Super Bowl. Ask him what he would rather. Oh, right here in our backyard, Matt Ryan, the year they went to the Super Bowl, he was the MVP. Would you have you asked Matt Ryan, would you give that MVP back to win that Super Bowl against the New England Patriots? I can't say 100% because that's somebody else, but I'm willing to put a little chips down to say those guys will say, hey, man, I would rather win the Super Bowl.
I'm glad I said what I said at the beginning of this conversation. I'm a team guy. I would want the Super Bowl, okay? But after all you said, and I agree, especially all the Super Bowl winning quarterbacks minus the MVPs that you just mentioned, that list, I feel you and I understand. But again, Joe, there's no one more testosterone driven than football players. We work extremely hard during the offseason and during two-a-days and during training camp to get to the season. We want to be the strongest. We want to be the fastest. We want to be the highest paid. You and I, being the South Carolinians that we are, being raised the way that we were raised, good godly men. I'm not mad at us for saying, give me the ultimate trophy with my team, the Super Bowl. But I understand every word Cam says about him being the baddest man in the National Football League for 1 year and him wanting to hold on to that more than anything else. And I think I'm going to add one more part. With what we're seeing, and we're going to talk about it here shortly, with what we're seeing in the NFL and the NBA this year, running backs losing value, running backs getting their value back, receivers making more than $1.5 million a game, Myles Garrett wanting to get traded, Luka out of nowhere, 25 years old, best shooter in the league, no one scores more than him, gets traded. Anthony Davis gets traded. The point I'm trying to make and the point I'm trying to bring up to you is this. Football players got to start getting a tad more selfish when it comes to them getting things that they want and they need, or them making sure that they are good in their own mind with their careers.
Yes.
Because for 30 years ago, for Barry Sanders to be told, you never put on nobody else's uniform, man. You retire, you're lying. For them to say that instead of saying, man, we probably can get 2-3 more picks for you. We probably can get so. Okay, Barry, yeah, you've done all you can for us. You gave us another deal. You want to go someplace else to do whatever you want to do, Barry? That's the least we can do for you. The Lions told him, you never wear nobody else's uniform. for reasons like that I just mentioned, I understand Cam Newton saying, man, let me keep my MVP.
Yeah. I like it, Stu. I like what you said, but I consider the MVP as well as the Super Bowl a team award. Both of those are team awards.
I agree.
That both of them.
Agree.
You can't do any of those things without the team. But it's just one of those accolades is at the tip top. You ask Lamar Jackson, he's about to have 3 of them with no Super Bowl. Yeah, and every time you hear him talk, all he plays the game for is to win. There you go.
He mentioned, I heard him mentioning with my own ears twice this past season that he's not thinking about no MVP. That's not on my mind.
Now, granted, he has 2.
Right. Well, but no, he was vehemently. Y'all, listen to what I'm saying. I'm not thinking about that. I'm here to get my fans, my team, and this city a Super Bowl. Very good.
I want to make myself clear now. I respect Cam and I understand his decision, and he's not going to change. That's his opinion. He is an MVP. He's a great quarterback and did good things from Carolina Panthers. But it just blew my mind that he said that. I was not expecting that to be said by a quarterback. It just caught me very, very much off guard.
In the Huddle with Joe Ham every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, we ask that you please continue to pass the word and join us. Pass the word and join us. Tell a few friends every Wednesday at 9 o'clock. Me and Joe, Nadi pop up sometime. Doug may pop up sometime, man. We here talking sports in the Huddle with Joe Ham. Question for you before I get to Super Bowl prediction. Andy Reid can become the GOAT with another win this year in the Super Bowl. Do you agree?
Yes, he can. Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. And that's an overall bad coach, bad mamma jamma. He's already taken over Bill Walsh. He's already, in my eyes, he's taking over Bill Walsh as an innovator, offensive mind. He is right now the best offensive coach that I've seen in my era. And I go back and I watch NFL, films. I watch those things about the history of the NFL and the innovative offenses, the West Coast offense.
He's amazing.
He is amazing. And the reason why I say that about Andy Reid is because Andy Reid is the only coach that's won 100 games with 2 different franchises. He's won 100 games with the Philadelphia Eagles, another 100 games with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's been the 4 consecutive conference championship games with the Eagles, 4 consecutive conference championship games with the Chiefs. And oh, by the way, these are different conferences. So to be able to do it in the NFC and do it in the AFC, And a lot of people would say that, you look at who had the best quarterback, could be the best quarterback to ever lace them up. Everybody needs talent. Bill Belichick had Tom Brady.
And not only that, somehow every quarterback he's ever had seems to be one of those talented quarterbacks. So, it's got to have something to do with those quarterbacks being good, but also those quarterbacks being good in his system. It's got to have something to do with that, too. And
he did it with Alex Smith. And he did it with other guys as well. He did it with
Detmer?
He did it with Michael Vick. So when you look at some of those guys and you look at some of those things that's looking at, you say, Andy Reid, why? He checked all the boxes. This is not me being a prisoner of the moment that he might have 4 championships. Look at his resume. Look at what he's done and look what he is doing, how he's transforming the game. And I think he's getting young. And also top 5 in wins. Playoff wins and regular season wins. If he continues to do this, and I could be a prisoner of the moment because he's in the era that I watch Belichick as well, he has the potential of catching up to Belichick 6 championships.
In the Huddle with Joe Ham, and I agree. I love Andy Reid. Something else that's very noble or honorable on Andy Reid's behalf, as well as Tony Dungy, and you remember this. I think you may have been on the team at the time with Tony Dungy. They both lost children while coaching in the National Football League and maintained and continued to be the guys that they are on the sideline throughout those situations.
Steadfast.
Even hope may seem but futile when with troubles you're beset, but remember you are fighting just what other men have met. You may fail, but fall still fighting. Don't give up. Whatever you do, eyes front, head high to the finish. See it through. One of my favorite poems is "See It Through." And Andy Reid and Tony Dungy possess that trait of the oak tree by the water that that will never be moved. I mean, and I'm not trying to get too sentimental here, but he's an amazing coach, just like Tony Dungy was, and it says a lot for him to be able to endure what he's endured as a father while coaching the National Football League and maintaining and holding your success.
Strong men, strong men. I heard an interview, I forgot who it was today, from the Kansas City Chiefs, and they basically said that I do not want to disappoint Andy Reid. Andy Reid cares for me like I'm one of his sons, that I'm a relative of his. And anytime a coach can get you feeling that they're in the foxhole with you, that they care more about just the football games, they care about your family, they care about your loved ones, they care about your, off the field activities. They want you to succeed as human beings. That's why you go out there and you lay it all on the line for a head coach. Shout out to Andy Reid, my brother. Shout out to him.
Shout out to Andy Reid, man. We're in the huddle with your hand, moving things right along. We're not going to be much longer, man. Before we get out of the world of football and get into this NBA with all these trades that's been taking place, Joe, Super Bowl predictions, sir.
Man, I'm going under. I'm going under the 48.5. I think it's going to be one of those defensive games, and not necessarily saying it's going to be defensive stopping. But what does Philadelphia like to do? They like to methodically move the ball downfield. Kansas City, they are the champion of 8, 9, 10 play drives that eats up a lot of clock. So I think the time of possession is going to be ate up by the running games of both of these guys. Intermediate passing by Kansas City, moving the sticks that way. I think the score is going to be 24-18. 24-18 with the Kansas City Chiefs going for the three-peat. And, oh, by the way, that's not saying that it's going to be a sloppy game. That's not going to be a sloppy game. And I think that Saquon Barkley, in order for the Eagles to win this ball game come Sunday evening, Saquon Barkley is going to have to get the MVP. He's going to have to be the MVP because the box is going to get stacked. The boxes is going to be there. There's going to be an extra 8-man down in the box, and Jalen Hurts going to have his opportunities to hit outside one-on-one, but that's not going to be enough just with Jalen Hurts hitting one-on-one wide receivers. Saquon Barkley is going to have to control the game with his running game, with his legs.
Joe, I don't think Andy's going to let Saquon be the guy to get a freaking MVP. He's been the offense for the Philadelphia Eagles, and Andy's had 2 weeks. He's not going to let Saquon get that ball 25 times for 125 yards. He's just not.
Yeah, but that's interesting. Why'd you call out Andy Reid? I mean, I know he's the head coach and he can dictate what kind of defenses he want played by Coach Spagnuolo,
right, because
the defensive coordinator. But
I called out Andy Reid because he has shown offensively and defensively on his rosters when he's got more than 1 week to prepare. Both of his teams stop the threat of the opposing offense and defense. So I'm putting that on his wheelbarrow. I'm contributing that to him. I could be wrong. You're right. It could be Spags. You're right. But I think that Andy Reid's still the head of it, and he's got something to do with that as well.
If Spags and Coach Andy Reid, if they stop Saquon Barkley from having a huge impact on this game, Jalen Hurts is going to he's going to put on the show. Jalen Hurts is going to have to put on the show one-on-one to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Goddard, tight end up the middle. That's going to have to be the case. Can Jalen Hurts make that throw like you saw it and you thought was so spectacular last week in the championship game on the fade route on 4th and 5? He's going to have to constantly drop that ball in a dime, in a window, in a bucket to move the chains. And if Jalen Hurts can stand in that pocket and make NFL-type throws like he has been, then they have a chance if they shut Saquon Barkley down. 24-18 Chiefs.
I think it's going to be more points than that. And I'm going to put
Kansas
my
City
pick
don't
out
light up
there.
the scoreboard, though. Kansas City
they have
don't
not,
light up the scoreboard.
and several games this year where they did not light up the scoreboard. But again, if the defense is going to be taken advantage of by anybody in the league, it's going to be Andy Reid after a 2-week stint where he's been able to study. He don't lose those games.
The only reason I go out on the limb and say that, Stu, is the fact that, man, you're dealing with 2 top 5 defenses.
You're right.
With every level from D-line to linebackers to the secondary. Those guys,
right.
they have players all
fast
over
rush,
the board.
covering tight ends. I mean, they do. You're right. You're right.
Both teams. That's the reason why I'm saying it's going to be somewhat low scoring game. And I firmly believe it didn't happen to Kansas City in the championship game, but the team that loses the turnover battle is going to lose this football game.
In the Huddle with Joe Ham, I'll put my pick out there tomorrow. What I will say about this, because I'm going to save it for the Two Live Stews experience in the morning, but what I will say is this. I'm not wagering on this game.
Ooh.
Right.
Not even fair and square?
No. I will do a couple of prop bets. I'll take $50, $75, and I'll do 3 or 4 parlays or a parlay with 3 or 4 teams or picks or something. But I'm not wagering on this game. I want Jalen Hurts to win, but I feel dumb as hell saying I'm wagering against Patrick Mahomes.
That's right.
And Andy
That's
Reid.
right.
I just feel like how dumb are you to take your kids' money and put it on a game against a team that's going for their 3rd Super Bowl in a row? I'm not dumb. Okay.
I can't get out of my head the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid, they have won 17 straight one-score games.
One-score games.
That's proof in the pudding for me, because I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles can blow them out. So it's going to be a one-possession game, and they have Patrick Mahomes.
So the Eagles shouldn't be able to blow them out, and the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes find ways to win games. You couldn't have told me nothing last weekend. When Patrick Mahomes got that ball and they were down in the 4th quarter, I knew they were going to score.
Right.
I didn't know if it was going to be a field goal or a touchdown, but I knew they was going to score. Period. That was the question.
What about last year, Stu? What about last year when Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers took the overtime, took the ball in overtime,
Same thing.
down to field goal? And when when Patrick Mahomes got that ball with 4 downs, because you can use 4 downs to get in field goal range, you knew they was going to score, and that's how I feel about this matchup.
No question. I'll make my pick in the morning.
Yes,
on
sir.
The Two Live Stews Experience, 7 o'clock in the morning. Y'all can catch us at www.twolivestewsyoutube.com and www.twolivestewsfacebook.com. I'm going to make my pick in the morning, but I'm telling y'all right now, I'm very unsettled about it. I am very unsettled about it. I think we are going to be in line for an amazing football game. I think it's going to be an amazing football game, and I literally can't wait. Yeah,
you're a defensive guy. Do you like? Excuse me. Do you like defensive games like the Rams and the New England Patriots put on display 13-3? I think the score was. Do you like those type games, or would you like the scoreboard to be light up?
I love the strategy of defensive teams. I'm not going to shy away and say the points aren't important, and I don't like to see people. I don't like seeing people score. I love it. I mean, that's part of the excitement of the game, especially if it's a player that's going to do a little jig or a little dance when they get to the end zone. But defense wins championships, and that's who I am. That's what I am. Okay. At Georgia Tech, you were beyond important to our team's success. Okay, but if we give up points, what you do don't matter.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
Because if you score 50, Joe, if you hang 50, which you've done in your career, if you hang 50 and they hang 52, they still win.
And it's a bad feeling. And there's no way that I would go in the locker room and say, well, I did my job, because that's not the cloth I'm built from. And I tell you this is how I want this game to go, or how I love watching football, Stu. I love watching plays being made.
Yes,
that's all. And plays can be made defensively, knocking the ball down, spectacular hits, spectacular coverages, schemes, hand placements on defensive line, making plays. I would love to. I don't want blown coverages. I don't want some of those type things. I want play making, superstars making plays, superstars defending plays. Just give us a highlight reel the entire night. That's what I want.
I can't wait to talk about it tomorrow morning, man. I really enjoyed talking about it with you just now. We're going to push this thing forward, man, because you got to still huddle up before we get out of here tonight, and we're coming up on the hour real quick. This week was the perfect week for the NBA and their trade deadline. Joe, it's been amazing, and this was a week where there was no NFL because there was a week gap between the NFC, AFC Championship and the Super Bowl. So we've had 2 weeks where we've talked about the Super Bowl and we've talked about the games last week, but the NBA's trade deadline and the litany of players that have moved around, the A-list players that have moved around has been phenomenal. Please share your thoughts, Joe.
Nico Harrison, GM for the Dallas Mavericks. He's on deck, Stu. He's on deck. He's on deck. And not to say
for the viewers, for the listeners, I got to tell you, Joe and I have not talked about this, and we have not talked about it on purpose. All right, Joe, keep on.
Yeah, man, he's a GM for the Dallas Mavericks. Anytime you, in my opinion, you ship away a generational talent in Luka Doncic. You ship away a first NBA all-team NBA for 5 straight seasons in his prime. For a very, 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 very good player, Anthony Davis, you have some explaining to do. And I know he's going to say he wished Luka well. You better be careful what you wish for. Because if Luka Doncic trends or keep trending the way he's been going in the first 5 years, you're going to kind of regret that trade. If Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving don't bring you home a championship, you're going to regret that trade. I cannot fathom what went on. Baloney overweight. Missed me with overweight. Missed me with insubordination that Luka thought it was his show. It is his show. Luka thought he was bigger than the team. Oh, yes, he is bigger than the team. Okay, no, that's what type of talent.
You don't mean that. Well, you don't mean that. We just talked about giving up the MVP for the Super Bowl. You don't mean Luka bigger than the team. You can't say that.
I can't say that.
What you just said.
Thank you, my friend.
You're welcome.
Thank you, my friend. He's the franchise player. Before that trade, I would have put Luka Doncic about. It's probably three players in the NBA that if I went to sleep the night before the Luka Doncic trade, I would say untouchable. They're not going to move. In my wildest dreams, there are certain players that's not going anywhere, and those definitely off the top of my head would be Steph Curry, LeBron James, and I would put Luka Doncic there. That's the type of player he is. That's the type of respect he has in that locker room. 5 years, $350 million? That's worth it, what he's going to bring in those turnstiles, in the ticket sales. Yeah, it's worth it, not unless you're buying into that he's lazy and he's fat. Well, he's lazy and he's fat, and he's just let you 6 months ago to an NBA Finals. He's got some explaining to do, Nico Harrison.
Let's dispel that right now. He's the league leading scorer at 28 points a game. He's not lazy. He can't be lazy and lead the league in scoring, can he? Okay, so I want to dispel that. I don't want that to be.
That's the rumor.
That's the rumor. That's the rumor. Okay, all right. Joe, Jerry Jones gave Dak Prescott $260 million. He's the highest paid person in the league. Dak does not deserve to be the highest paid person in the league.
Correct.
Okay. But Jerry found himself in a pickle and says, even though he's not worth $260, I'm going to give it to him because my back's against the wall and I ain't got nothing else. So I'm going to give it to him. And I'm going to take all the burden that comes with him carrying that cross of $260 million. Joe, Mark Cuban is no longer the guy that is calling the shots in Dallas. Mark Cuban was pro player. So had this happened under Cuban's watch, Luka wouldn't be anywhere. He loved Luka Doncic. He loved him. The new owners, it's the Adelson family and the Dumont family. Those families are the shareholders, the majority shareholders of the Las Vegas Sands Casino Company in Las Vegas.
Interesting.
They're not fanboys of anyone. They're business people.
You don't have to be a fanboy.
Hold on. They're business people. And from what I know and from what I've seen from Luka, and I just came to his defense and said, people got to stop calling him lazy because he's leading the league. He can't be lazy leading the league in points. He can't be lazy blocking more shots than everybody else. He can't be lazy doing a couple of things.
Well, he doesn't play defense.
This is a business. And the $48 million Luka's making now, after you saw him in the NBA Finals last year, you've got to question anybody willing to pay him more than that. Because Luka can drop 50 a game and he wasn't enough for you to win last year in the playoffs because he don't play no D. You got to have somebody that plays D that's making that kind of money.
No, I disagree.
So real quick, the Adelson family and the Dumont family said, we are in here to make, let's say the franchise is worth $3 billion. We're here to make it worth $6 billion. I'm not here to cater to my fans. I'm not here to cater to no player, especially when he don't play defense, when I could see last year when he was in the finals that he's not going to be enough to get it done himself. I'm going to run this business like it needs to be ran.
Yeah, that's a terrible blueprint. That's terrible. That's terrible.
No,
that's terrible.
No,
that's terrible.
It's not.
That's terrible because this is what they're saying to me. If that's the case, so then,
and you're right. If that's the case, because those are my words. I didn't read that from the family.
Yeah, absolutely. If that's the case, then forget about drafting anybody and developing them. If that's the case, forget about having any free agent come over and want the big bucks. Well, what do you mean you disagree? If you're going to tell me that we got a homegrown Gafford who's up there now, who's a pretty good player. Kyrie Irving continues to play like he's playing now, and he elevates his game, and he's due for another contract. You're telling me that you're not in the business. You're not in the business of paying guys their worth or paying guys what somebody else is willing to pay them. Because you're running a business. That's what you're telling me.
I did not say I was not in the business of paying players their worth. You mentioned Kyrie. Kyrie is an NBA ring holder. He's done that before. Hold on. You mentioned Kyrie, not me.
Yes, I did.
Okay, I'm fine with Kyrie getting paid, and I'm fine with Luka getting paid, but I'm not fine with paying Luka $76 million a year when he showed me last year while in the finals that he's not the difference maker I need.
Man, he was the reason why they got to the finals. He was the reason why they got to the finals. And listen to this. You talk about Kyrie Irving, Stu. Kyrie Irving was, 8-9 years into the league before he did that? Yep. Luka's only in his 5th year, 6th year. Right. Well, Steph Curry. What about Steph Curry? Steph Curry doesn't play any defense as well. Those things are going to happen down the road. LeBron James, when did he win his championship?
Steph Curry had defenders and heels on the floor with him like Draymond Green when he was there. He's not required to do that.
You surround Luka. Well, what you do is you surround Luka with those guys. But you pay that man. You don't get rid of a generational talent that way.
Hold on. A generational talent that's been known not to come in shape. A
generational talent the league.
A generational talent that don't play defense.
And a generational
talent, a generational talent that the word on the street is walks around and sticks his chest out like he owns the joint. I'm not giving him $76 million. And guess what? In my eyes, the Dallas Mavericks will get to a title now faster than the Los Angeles Lakers because they brought in a piece that is something that they need because they do have Kyrie. They do have Klay Thompson. They brought in a defender. They brought in a rim protector. They brought in a shot blocker and another scorer. So at the end of the day, in my eyes, the Lakers have prepared for the departure of LeBron, but they're not title contenders now.
Not
the
this
Dallas
year,
Mavericks, the Dallas Mavericks are contenders immediately.
And I wholeheartedly agree with you. That's a window, but that window is going to close how quick? How long is that window open? What you did with the LA Lakers, what the LA Lakers just did is they got a draft pick, a 25-year-old draft pick that's an all NBA player that just went to the finals, that can do it all, rebound, pass, score, makes others better. That's what they did.
Right. I understand. He don't play defense, and he showed last year in the finals that he doesn't matter. Kyrie can drop 28 points. Kyrie can drop 28 points. AD can drop 28 points. Klay Thompson can drop 28 points.
I don't like the fact that you're doing that because Boston was a better team, man. Boston was a better team. Boston was a better team. You acted like Luka shrunk in that NBA Finals. Boston beat those guys 4 games to 1, being a better team, man.
I'm not acting like Luka shrunk. I'm acting like Luka didn't get it done and didn't come close to getting it done. That's all I'm acting like.
So
what I'm not doing is acting like I saw Luka give them a chance last year, because I didn't see that. The team that they've got now, the team that's in place right now, if healthy, is a much better contending team. And Joe, you mentioned Luka 5 years from now, 6 years from now. The Lakers are thinking about the future. You are exactly right. However, we don't think like that in sports. We're thinking about right now. We want the ring right now. I'm not worried about 2026. I'm worried about 2025.
Yeah, but before that trade, Anthony Davis and LeBron James, were they going to win an NBA final championship?
They had a better chance to than the Lakers do now with Anthony Davis in LA. They had a better chance then than they do now.
Yeah, what 15% chance?
Sir,
yeah.
Again, I'm a gambling man. The odds for the Mavs went up. The odds for the Lakers went up as well, but not as much.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. The Mavs went from oh no to oh sugar. Oh sugar.
It's one of those things too that I have to say that we're going to have to revisit this trade.
I agree.
We're going to have to revisit this trade and see what happens 3 to 4 years down the road.
Yeah.
And by the way, Jimmy Butler's gone.
Before you move on, Luka's been just as injury prone as AD. The calf that he's coming back from here real soon is the 4th time he's had the same calf injury. 4th. He's just as injury prone as AD. AD's only missed 11 and a half games the last 2 seasons. He's missed less games than Luka since he's been in LA.
Rob Pelinka, LeBron James, there's no doubt about it, Ryan Stewart, that they're going to have to sit Luka down. Because some of these injuries, it's because you're not in tip-top shape. Well, yeah, I mean, you're talking about a calf. So I can look at you now. He didn't look out of shape. He looked pretty slim in that press conference in LA.
He looked slim.
He looked pretty good.
Agreed.
But the calf injuries and some of these injuries, when I see a little pooch on your belly, a couple years in and some of those type things, I got to say that, hey, what are you doing? What was your offseason like? So I just love it for the Lakers that they're not thinking long-term. Not thinking short-term. They're thinking long-term. Till when LeBron James leave, they have a face of the franchise.
It's they've always got a superstar on their roster. Yeah. I've never seen anything like it in my life. For the last 50 years, they've had a freaking superstar on their roster. They've had a top 5 player in the NBA on their roster for the last 50 freaking years, and I love it. So I really like this trade for both teams, but I like it more for Dallas because Dallas can contend right now. But it's amazing how they pulled it off. Joe, just that quick, it's 10 o'clock, man. Talk about Jimmy Butler and any other trade you want to mention before we get out of here.
What I really love what San Antonio did. I really love what San Antonio did, and De'Aaron Fox is an outstanding player. He's a pick and roll guy. Going out there to pair him with Victor Wembanyama, that's a future. That's a down the road type of move. Fox is an all NBA type player. Jimmy Butler, he's better than Andrew Wiggins in my opinion. So you kind of swap those guys. Golden State, they're just throwing out money, so you can afford to pay him. How's that going to work with Steph? How's that going to work with Draymond Green? I think that's a culture. I don't have to worry about Jimmy Butler fitting in because the players will have him fit in. Steve Kerr will have him fit in.
Isn't that one of the teams that Jimmy said he would not sign an extension with?
Yeah, but Jimmy, it was coming down to the crossroads. Phoenix couldn't make a deal with Phoenix, and he wanted out. He knew he was never going to put on a uniform again in Miami, so he had to settle. And the Warriors always wanted him. The Warriors was going to sign him regardless, so he went ahead and took that 2-year deal. And words are that he went ahead and signed with the Golden State Warriors.
2 years, how much, Joe?
I think it's $121 million, man. Hey, now Joe, again,
people talk bad about Jimmy Butler and how Jimmy act. He'll never get the bag. Nobody go pay him after what he's done. I want players to get more selfish with their actions. I want them, if they think they need to show their ass, I want them to go ahead and show their ass. I don't want you to
sell me under the bus. I don't want you to sell me under the bus as your teammate. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to let me down that way.
I don't.
Finish the drill. You got to finish the drill.
I don't, and I agree, but if it comes to the organization having it their way or the player having it their way, I'm voting with the player.
Yeah.
Because we've seen and talked about all night tonight how the organization and the franchise will ish on whoever they want, and it's okay.
Great point.
Players have to take control of their own destiny. They have to be the master of their faith and the captain of their soul. Captain of their faith and master of their soul. They have to be. And I'm fine with Jimmy Butler handling things the way that he did, and he still got his paper. I knew he would. I'm happy for him.
That's right. No,
Go ahead.
Well, I tell you what. I mean, we can already go and huddle up right now because you stole it. You stole it, Stu. And my huddle up for this evening was just what you exactly alluded to. And I was going to say about the empowerment for the players back in pro sports. The players need to take their empowerment back. The players need to stand up and make sure that they get what they want to get because they're not getting respected from the owners. I was once a guy that used to say that, hey, man, honor the contract. Hey, guy, you sign that contract, play it out, and then you go ahead and when you're a free agent, then you go ahead and leave. That's what you're supposed to do. It's not fair. It's not fair. They're owners and you're the players. But now I got to take all that back, Stu. I agree with Myles Garrett, and I agree with how he did it. He went to upper management. He went on the TV and told why we're not winning. I don't believe you guys are putting the piece around me to get it done. So I want to be traded. And you look at Cooper Kupp. The reason why I made this decision as I thought about it, I looked at Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp still is a high volume receiver. He performs in the slot. He makes catches. He makes crucial blocks. He's willing to dig out a safety in the running game. He wants to be an LA Ram, and then they want to trade him. His contract is not up, but all of a sudden you want to get rid of him, and there's no problem with you getting rid of him. But the minute these players want to say, I've had it, I've outlived this contract, I want more, or I want to be in a better place, we all got down on those guys. Not anymore for me, Stuart. Not anymore for me at all. I'm with the players. I love the way they're doing it. I'm back. Stand up. Now, there's always a right way to do it, and I think Myles Garrett is doing it the right way. Look at Luka. Luka said he wanted to stay there. Luka said he wanted to sign a max 5-350, but all of a sudden he wakes up and he's gone. Players, stand up. I'm with you. I wasn't always like this, but now I'm with you. Players, stand up.
I gotta say this real quick. I'm gonna turn this music down so everybody can hear me. I gotta say this. I'm proud of you. This is all I've been saying to you for 15 years. We have had this same debate for about 15, 20 years, where you were too, you were behind the organization too much.
Yes, I was.
And part of that is our humble beginnings and how we grew up down there in the country and how we were raised to be respectful. And there's a protocol, and you're gonna honor your contract. You're gonna be a man of your word. We're gonna shake on it, and we don't need no contract. But man, they made Barry Sanders give back some guaranteed money.
Yeah, so they did. So did Calvin Johnson.
They made Calvin Johnson give back some guaranteed money. And let me tell you something that I know, because I'm a 5-year former Detroit Lion. Those two names are the best names in our franchise's history, and they gave money back. There's no place for it. And this is a business. They can't be the billion-dollar owners and the billion-dollar business that continues to toe the company line for themselves. But Jamar Chase is out there knowing he's worth more money playing for pennies. It can't work like that.
No,
you got to
no,
be willing to say, you got to be willing to say, here's what I've done. Here's how I stack up compared to everybody else. He's getting paid this. He's getting paid that. It's my turn. I want to be paid more. And if you don't do it, I'm not playing. Period.
Woo!
You know what I know. You know what I know. If Chase and Cincinnati would have gotten injured this year, they would not have given him no lifer contract after that. You know that. He was blessed not to get hurt this year. He rolled the dice and bet on himself, and he was blessed not to get hurt.
And he balled out.
And he balled. So he's going to get top dollar, but
he's
he could have been Willis McGahee. He could have been Willis McGahee.
Shout out to the players, man.
We got to stop being Willis McGahee.
Yeah, I've crossed over, man.
If you have the opportunity to demand your worth, you better demand it. Not just in football either. Not just in football either. In life. We're only as good as we can negotiate. Okay?
Ooh,
the Lions was not going to give me a $15 million contract. They saw me worth 4.2. That's it. They wasn't going to get, I couldn't have gone in there and got 15. I could have done nothing to get 15. They set the market on me. When you get to set the market on you, you better do it. You better do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Yeah, shout out to the players, man. Shout out to the players, brother. You hear me? Shout out to the players. No doubt.
Outstanding job tonight, Joe.
Man, boy, time flies, brother. Time flies.
We made some promises. I'm going to read a couple of chat real quick. Jungle Brother said, Cam Newton is right. MVP is worth more than a ring. Look at the backup quarterbacks. Chad Henne got 3 rings as a backup. Nobody paying him to speak at a gala because of his rings. That's another point, which goes back to what we just said about
MVP is not worth more than a Super Bowl. No way.
Well,
worth more. No. Well, it's good to have on your mantle. Not worth more.
Jungle Brothers' point is, Hall of Famers get $50,000 to come to an event. That's their number. That's their value. If you get a Hall of Famer to come to your event, here's what Hall of Famers get paid. Market set. That's what it is. So he's saying Chad Henne got 3 Super Bowl rings. He's not getting 25. He's not getting 25,000 to speak. Cam Newton gets for being an MVP. In MVP, you have a number.
Yeah, but see, that's winning the argument. That's just trying to win the argument there. That's trying to win the argument because listen to this. I could say back to you said what's his name? Jungle
Brother.
Jungle Brother. Shout out to you, Jungle Brother. I could put me for an example. In my humble experience, I have a Super Bowl ring. But yes, I would give that Super Bowl ring back to win MVP. Why? Because I would be playing. Why? Because I would be making a difference. I would not be on the bench. So him bringing up Chad Henne did not say hut in those Super Bowls. So that's a big difference. That's a big difference. I would give back my Super Bowl ring for an MVP because I did not play in that game.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Platinum Boy NTV. Breaking news. Jimmy Butler 121, 2 years. And they said Jimmy wasn't going to get his money.
Jimmy acted a fool. Jimmy acted up, though, man. He acted up.
I don't like the way he act, and I wouldn't want my kids doing that. I don't like the way he act, and I wouldn't want my kids doing that. But I'm glad he did. And guess what? It worked again. This wasn't the first time he was a little disgruntled. You know?
There's something to be said about Jimmy Butler, though. Come on, man. I mean, that's a lot of different teams, man. He leaving like that. The Timberwolves, he left like that. The 76ers, he left like that. The Chicago Bulls, he left like that. And now Miami. Minnesota. At one point in time? Yeah, with Tibbs. And he didn't like the way, Karl Anthony Towns and his demeanor, so he wanted out. There's a few different teams he wanted out and got his way. So shout out to him getting his money. And I like the dog in Jimmy Butler. I just don't like the way he went about things.
I stopped the music real quick to say something. Who cares?
Nanny, nanny, boo, boo.
Nanny boo boo. Who cares? Younger brother just said the same thing you said. His number is 121 for 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he won.
That's his number.
He won.
That's his number. He knows his worth. Yeah, he wasn't gonna. He wanted out of Miami, and I put it on TikTok. Hey, yo, we're gonna end this show here in a second. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We didn't mean to do this. I put it on TikTok. Jimmy Butler knows his worth and demanded it. What we don't know, and we hadn't heard, maybe we'll never hear now because he got paid, so he may not even care anymore. What we don't know is what was said or done to Jimmy Butler. We don't know that. We don't know what made Jimmy Butler act the way he was acting, man. But I do know one thing.
I know.
What was it?
They didn't want to extend him. They didn't think that they thought that he was on the tail end of his career, and Pat Riley and his organization didn't want to pick up that other option. They thought $52 million was right about where he was worth, what he was worth.
Right. And what did he get? Yeah. He knew his number, and he knew what he had to do to get his number. He wasn't going to accept 52 to stay in Miami. He wanted his number. He wanted out. Yeah, he started coloring his hair and painting his nails. And
yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that's why I don't agree with what you said about the Mavericks owners. Man, you better spend that money. You better spend that money.
No, they business people, Joe. They're not Mark Cuban. That's why I brought up Mark Cuban's name. I was comparing Cuban to the owners. The owners are Mark Cuban's a fanboy. And that's what made him a great owner. He's a pro player owner. No better locker room, no better player amenities, no better plane for the players' comfort. No players pick the whole. These people are running a business. And in their business world, there are people that do their books say you can't give that guy $76 million. Okay. So what do we do? So what do we do? You got to trade him. Okay, how do we do that? They don't know a damn thing about. They run casinos, Joe. They're business people.
Okay, real quick. So if you say that, Stu, then I'm gonna have to take back how I said earlier on the show about Nico Harrison, the GM. If this is all about the owner and the owner forced his hand, then I'm going to absolve him about his decision of shipping Luka out of there. Because I was thinking he fell on the sword. He fell on the sword in his press conference and said that this was all my decision. I'm going to have to take that back if it's not his decision.
Listen, I'm very glad you said that because I wrote this down to mention. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay? Let me stop the music one more time. Okay? No move of this magnitude is made by the GM. He can't do it. His job is gone. I don't care if it works. I don't care if it doesn't work. His job is gone. If you move Luka, a generational talent, and you don't tell me or take direction from me to do that, you don't have a job. So Joe, don't move forward acting like the GM that fell on the sword for if it works or fails. The GM that says this was me, this all me, this ain't all him.
No.
It can't be all him.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
So again, this ownership group knows that the value of the company will go up winning right now. The Lakers always have a superstar. LeBron is done. LeBron's almost gone. Here's the perfect opportunity. They're going to do what they do with generational talent for the last 50 years, and the Dallas Mavericks is going to do what they can do to win a title this year. Maybe Luka will learn from LeBron, and I think he will. I think Luka being in LA with LeBron is going to change his career. I think Luka getting moved is going to change his career. I think he's going to beast because of it.
One quick question, Stu. One more quick question. Do you firmly believe that LeBron James did not know about this?
I do.
I do as well.
I do
as well.
Yep. Mm-hmm. LeBron is done. His days are over.
Yes, it is. As far as controlling the narrative, his days are over. I still think
Every
he has some
time,
ball left in him, but as far as controlling the narrative, it's over. Yeah.
and Luka, if they'll keep him and have him, Luka's going to stretch his career out a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Because Luka can drop 30 a night. He don't have to get out there and drop 25.
Yep.
He gonna be able to come in there and do what he do 15, 20 minutes and go sit down.
And he want to max out playing with his son. So yeah.
And that's another part of it. Every time you see Bronny James on the floor, that reminds them people that is running a business that LeBron has done. Because they did this for him. They did this for him.
You talk about the owner for the Mavericks, man. How are you going to sit back there and give money back to the season ticket holders and all those guys? You're going to give back tickets because of the move you made. If you were on such a money in a business, that wasn't a business move where you have to give, that you have to return tickets or have people return tickets to you. That doesn't sound like an initial good business plan to me.
If it boosts the bottom line eventually, yes. In negotiations and in business, you often give up a little to get a little more. Yeah, listen, we just gave y'all guy away. I know y'all sick. Here, I'm sorry. Please forgive us. You'll understand why we did it later. Here, take this. Yeah. But after this championship, ticket prices going up 8 to 10%.
Right.
It's business, Joe. Because we're players, we forget that. We allow our blood, sweat, and tears to affect our thoughts too much when it comes to our analysis. We overlook the economics of this damn thing. That's why the majority of us are millionaires and they're billionaires. Jerry Jones, his franchise is worth $11 billion, man.
He'll tell you about it.
Oh, hey, man. They playing the long game. We're here trying to get it where we can. Still dealing with colonizers and people trying to oppress us. We're trying to get it however we can. Knowing good and damn well they're not going to let us do nothing to get to them billions. Like, that's another story for another day. Outstanding job tonight, sir.
Man, good stuff, brother. Good stuff, man. I feel good,
you
man.
Sure you don't want
you
sure you don't want to change your pick because this is the last show you're going to have?
Oh, no. I'm in concrete. I'm not even wishy-washy. It wasn't a hard decision for me. Matter of fact, I'll take the points, 1.5 point. That's easy. I just went in the game basically. But yeah, it's Kansas City Chiefs. It's Pat Mahomes. It's Andy Reid. The Eagles have the better team, but the Chiefs have a better quarterback and a better head coach.
Luka drinks a 6-pack a day. His body not gonna hold up. When he's 30. Lakers got holes on this trade. Yeah, man, Luka's done interviews where he's holding a can of beer, man.
Michael Finley took that beer out of his hand in the finals. He said, give me that, man. You don't need to be drinking that right now.
I'm not giving him $76 million, man. They felt like they would be the Jerry Jones of the NBA had they paid him a max deal. And they're right. It's too risky to give him a max deal.
Too risky. Listen to yourself, Stuart. Yeah, hey, listen to you. You don't. I mean, I know you do believe it, but listen to yourself. If this guy drinks a 6-pack, Jungle Brother, I don't disagree with you, Jungle Brother. But if this guy drinks a 6-pack a day, and he's doing what he's doing, oh my goodness. What are we talking about? He's drinking. What are you talking about? If he's drinking a 6-pack a day and scoring 30, averaging a triple-double almost, come on, man. I'm paying the man.
Luka said, the heck with Showtime. It's Miller time. I can't give him $76 million. I'm not giving him $76 million. I understand. Mark Cuban would have done it. But these people are like, man, we're trying to move these books 25, 30%, and we're going to sell it.
Man, they're giving away. They are giving away Supermax to guys, man. They give away Supermax to Joel Embiid.
Ain't nobody gave $360 million yet.
Yeah, I think Joel Embiid did the Supermax right about that.
No, right about and being is two different things. I'll tell you in 30 seconds.
Man, he is
30 seconds.
Lord, it's busting it up, man. These guys are getting paid.
Joel
man.
Embiid signed a 3-year, $192 million deal, Joe. 3-year, $192
extension. Million. That's after the max.
And annual salary, $64 million.
Yeah, that's a lot. And he's injury prone.
which is another reason why you can't give Luka 350. He's missed a buttload of games. This has been fun, man. I mean,
shout out to Luka, man.
Hey, plus everybody in the chat room, man. Hey, plus everybody in the chat room. Pistol Pete drunk himself out of the league. Very true. Thank you, Fly Tie. That's my cousin, man. That's my cousin, Fly Tie.
Pistol Pete.
Wait, I can listen to y'all two talk all night. I feel like I'm back home in Berkeley County.
That's right.
Randall, we
right.
appreciate you. And that's exactly why we're doing what we're doing.
My goodness,
Randall,
that was fun, man.
Randall? We've talked about this for years. The conversation we've had for the last 30 minutes, we started off with a format and everything, but we got loose towards the end. But the last 30 minutes is what we do on the phone 2-3 times a week, Randall.
Yeah. I'm not even going to bring up and hold you for 10 more minutes. I'm not going to even bring up the fact that I don't see the difference between 330 million and 365 million. But that's for another day.
I agree. Doug
okay.
sees the difference. I agree.
Oh, okay.
I agree.
Oh, okay.
I agree.
Okay.
And also,
okay.
Doug and I argue about this all the time. In the Huddle with Johan, we're wrapping things up, y'all. Doug argues about this all the time. If you offer me $25 million a year to be in Green Bay, but I love Miami and Miami offers me $20 million, I'll take the 20.
Yes, sir. So there we go.
I take the 20.
Yes.
I take the 20.
Yes.
No problem.
Yes.
So I'm gonna have $100 million deal over 5 years instead of 125. I'm missing out on $25 million, but I'm in Miami.
And I'm happy.
Not Doug Stewart. He wants every penny.
He wants every dime.
He wants every penny. And all that's gonna happen is one day you're gonna die and your kid's gonna spend it in 2 years.
Doug thinking about generational wealth, man. Doug thinking about the future stewards, man. I feel him. But I don't see that difference. There is a difference, but to your point, there's nothing you can buy.
Happiness.
There's nothing you can buy that I can't buy. Nah.
You can't put a price on happiness. You can't put a price on being happy or being someplace where you want to be.
No way.
Yeah. God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. If you don't know him, you need to find him and show him love. That's all he's showing you, nothing but love. Every Wednesday at 7, the No Show at 9 in the Huddle with Joe Ham. We thank you all so very much for pulling up. We will catch you in the morning with the Two Live Stews Experience. Me and my brother Doug, the Two Live Stews, 7 a.m. right here on YouTube, right here on Facebook. Peace and blessings, y'all. Peace and blessings.
Go Chiefs.